Good morning. Welcome to our second instalment of our Bookkeeper Boost Week. Today is our session Sow, Grow, Sustain, Cultivate a Greener Practice. So this is our second session. We have 3 more sessions throughout the week. Tomorrow we have Jem Malik and Johan Gorey with Revitalise Your Tech Stack for Smooth Efficiency. If you want to register for any upcoming sessions, the QR code is on your screen just now. So as always, as we let the attendees trickle in, we'll wait for a few moments before kicking off. So usually during these sessions, we ask you to pop in where you're dialing in from. But as the session's on sustainability and looking after our planet, why don't you pop in the chat box, your favourite place in the world? It could be somewhere you've travelled, a local beach you go dog walking, somewhere that's important to you. So pop that into the attendee chat box. Morning, Joe. Morning, Paula. And just while we're doing that, you may have seen on our socials, we do have a Bookkeeper Boost Week competition where you can win a Smeg blender as well as some other FreeAgent goodies. So head along to our LinkedIn page just now and leave a comment. So let's have a look at numbers. Morning, Laura. Morning, Katie. Oh, Scottish Highlands are quite favourite of mine as well, actually. Perfect. Okay, so that seems to be our attendees levelling off now. So let's kick off. So welcome to Sow, Grow, Sustain, Cultivating a Greener Practice. We'll take a quick look at our agenda for today. So I'll be taking us through our housekeeping, just some tips to get the most out of today's session. We'll then be setting the scene. So what do we mean by sustainability? And chatting through some of the key terms and principles involved. We'll then kick off our live panel discussion. We'll understand our panelists' journeys so far with practical tips to cultivate a greener business. There'll be times for Q&A. So you'll see below, you've got your Q&A box and the chat box. Please leave the chat box for any sort of general observations, pleasantries. Be really interactive. We want to hear from you. Any specific questions, fire them into the Q&A box for us, please. We have the lovely Chiara. She is manning the chat box, so answering any of your questions and offering assistance throughout. And if you've joined any of our sessions before, we usually do a FreeAgent demo towards the end. As is sessions on sustainability, we're going to have a look at our NatWest Carbon Planner. So this is a free tool from NatWest to help you take control of your carbon footprint. Okay, so on to housekeeping. So today's session will be recorded and is worth 1 CPD point. Again, please use the Q&A for any specific questions. Kind reminder to keep the chat positive and respectful. Our panelists are here giving you their time, so please just be mindful of that. And throughout the session, we'll have polls, there'll be follow-ups, and there'll be opportunity for giveaways as well. So let's go into introductions. My name's Stephen Corr. I'm part of the account management team here at FreeAgent. So I look after some of our practice partners in the southeast of England. The account management function is just really to support our practices at the various different stages of their journeys to digitisation. We're also joined by Kathryn Frimond from your local bookkeeper. Kathryn, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Kathryn Frimond from your local bookkeeper. We are a pretty small practice that look after clients with sort of sustainable interest. We've got a few B Corps and charities, and also help accountants and bookkeepers to become more sustainable in their business as well.
Amazing. Thank you, Kathryn. And we're also joined by Suzannah Whelan from Sinclair Whelan Bookkeeping. Suzannah.
Hiya. Yeah, so I'm Suzannah. I own and run Sinclair Whelan Bookkeeping. I'm a sole practitioner, qualified and licensed by the ICB. I've been in practice for just over 15 years, and I provide a full range of accounting services to my clients who are limited companies, sole traders, and landlords.
Amazing. Thank you, Suzannah. Okay, so of course we are on a FreeAgent webinar. If you're not familiar who we are, we're an award-winning accounting software. We pride ourselves on offering unrivaled support. We're one of the only providers who has a team of in-house bookkeepers and accountants you can contact through live chat, over the phone, or by email. We have an intuitive mobile app which has the exact same functionality as the desktop version of FreeAgent. We're obviously part of the NatWest ecosystem, so FreeAgent is complimentary for anyone who banks with any of the NatWest book, RBS or Ulster. We also offer obviously paid licenses as well, so it's not just exclusively for NatWest. And we're HMRC recognised and MTD compatible. So we'll have our first poll of the day. So if you're a bookkeeper or accountant in practice, would you like to find out more about becoming a FreeAgent partner? So just go ahead and click on the screen. Yes, please. No, thanks. Or I'm already a FreeAgent partner and would love to hear from my account manager. I'm going to leave that up for a few seconds for you. So we're about 20% at the moment. And we stop sharing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amazing. So let's get into the nitty-gritty and get on with the session. So a topic like sustainability is quite wide-reaching. So to kick off, let's contextualise and give ourselves a strong basis. So we need to set the scene with Kathryn Frimond. Why sustainability should matter to you as a bookkeeper. Kathryn, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, so I thought we just talked about this, going on to just the next slide very quickly. I thought I'd just start by setting the scene to say that, and I can't see this slide now, I don't know why, but setting the scene to say that sustainability is quite widely encompassing. So it ranges from carbon footprinting, which I think most people have heard of, to biodiversity, the recycling. It's really broad. It comes into things that we do with the oceans, what we eat, all sorts of things. But I think for me, it starts with maybe doing your carbon footprint. And that's probably what people are most familiar with when it comes to sustainability. And for me, it's really about ensuring that I do whatever I can to help the planet for future generations as well.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Kathryn. So I can push on to your second slide where it's the red graph if you're wanting to chat through that.
Yeah, so this graph does really set the scene for us. A lot of things that I get asked are, a lot of questions that I get asked or told are that climate crisis isn't actually happening is one thing. There are people out there that don't believe that climate crisis is happening. Just to kill that myth off straight away, it's a scientific fact that we are, without being too doom and gloom, that we are heading towards a extinction of our population. And this is now scientifically proven that this is a result of human activity on Earth. So the Earth has always gone through cycles. We've had the Ice Age, we've had cycles of heat and extinctions, but we're now heading to one where the human race is directly at threat. And you can see on the graph that this all started as part of the Industrial Revolution. And yet, whilst the Industrial Revolution was amazing to get us where we are today with how we live, you can see towards the end of the graph that it has significantly increased the warming of the planet. Now, if we're about 2.2 degrees, I think, without quoting me, warmer than at the start of the Industrial Revolution. It's widely recognised that if we go above 4 degrees, that's extinction of the whole planet, not just the human race. And you can see on that graph how quickly that is accelerating. It's been globally accepted that we need to stick below 2 degrees, preferably 1.5 degrees of warming. And that is where sort of the politics is taking us towards those figures. So it's very hard to reach those figures, and we all need to do what we can to make sure. And we'll move on to the positive things now rather than just doom and gloom, I think.
No, Kathryn, I think that's some very valid points there as well. And like we said at the start, there were people coming into this session today from a wide range of different backgrounds where, you know, sustainability, it might just be something they've heard of or they're interested in, but don't actually know the current sort of ramifications or where we're at with a society level with it. So that was a really nice way to sort of give us that sort of basis for today. So many thanks. So we'll maybe then sort of take this back to basics then and get sort of an understanding of your journeys. You know, what got you interested in sort of cultivating a greener business for yourself, but also helping your clients do so? So, Kathryn, would you like to sort of kick off there for us, just in terms of, you know, how you've actually developed to where you are?
Yeah, so anyone that's probably heard me speak before has probably heard of a book that I'm just going to go get it now as well. Oh, here. Sorry, brief interlude. A book called The Uninhabitable Earth by David Wallace Wells. It's a very hard read, but it starts to go through how the planet will become extinct. And it's a hard read to hear how we are affecting things. I got that book from a friend, I think, initially. And I think once you've read that, you start on your journey with sustainability. I also have a son, and I strongly believe that I have to do everything as a parent to make sure that he has somewhere to live in the future. And that's where I started on my journey. I now feel like I'm doing quite a lot for that journey. I'm not perfect. No one is perfect, but I want to teach other people how to do that as well. And that's part of sort of my ESG model in my business, is actually speaking to other people and making sure other people are aware of what's going on in the world, which is probably then where Suzannah comes in.
Yeah. No, definitely, Suzannah, because you're maybe sort of, is it fair to say, slightly earlier on in your sort of journey?
Yeah, very early on in my journey. I mean, I've always been interested in environmental issues, but yeah, I heard about Kathryn's course, and I wanted to find out more. You know, as you know, we know that as bookkeepers and accountants, we are kind of uniquely placed to perhaps be able to influence our clients and be able to help them when certain things get mandated in terms of what is likely to happen with legislation in future. So I wanted to find out more. So yeah, started Kathryn's course a few months ago, but yeah, very early on in my journey at the moment.
And I think it's really nice to have both your perspectives on this, because there'll be so many people, myself included, where, you know, we're all trying to make little changes in life, you know, eat healthier, drink more water, look after the planet. And actually it's difficult, and it becomes this big sort of challenge. And, you know, I think what we're going to talk about is the sort of small steps you can take along along those paths. And just going back to you, Kathryn, on sort of this topic, how did that sort of then incorporate into your business model?
Yeah, so funnily enough, it was on a mentoring call, and someone just said that I was being attracted to these kind of clients. So most, I would say 90% of my clients are working in a space where they want to make a positive impact, be it through kind of sustainability or through the people that they help or whatever it is. And I was finding that I was really disconnected with the other clients. And it was on a mentoring call that someone just said to me, why are you even bothering with these other clients? You know, you should really focus and niche down on the sustainability sector. And it was like a light bulb moment of, yeah, absolutely have to do this. And that's, my practice has sort of been built from that. And actually by surrounding myself with those people, and all my clients are in that space, everyone's talking constantly about saving the planet. It's given me more knowledge to then be able to come and tell other people and accountants and bookkeepers about it.
Yeah, definitely. And then, Suzannah, in terms of, obviously you mentioned you're slightly early on in your journey, is sort of sustainability and sort of better sort of economic business practices, is that something that's important to your clients as well?
Some of them, not all of them at the moment, but I will be sort of doing what I can to influence them, and you know, little changes, little things that I can kind of influence that will make them sort of think about things a bit more. But yes, certainly I have got a couple of clients who are in that space already. So for me, this is, you know, really important, and it's enabling me to help them on their journeys as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it's that sort of, you know, work in progress thing as well, isn't it? We're
Yeah.
all sort of different paths.
And I think maybe to like skip ahead a little bit in our conversation, but that to me is what it's all about. So if you can make small changes yourself, you're only accountable for what you can do. So a lot of people say to me, oh, what about, I don't know, all the stuff that's built in China or someone using fossil fuels somewhere else. I can only be accountable for me, and it is those small changes. And if you then have the confidence to talk about your small changes to someone else, they will make that change. And the more we talk about little changes, the more people will do. And just before I came on, I was actually looking at my notes from when I presented at Accountex. And one of the notes was there's 275,000 registered accountants and 77,000 registered bookkeepers. So if we're all doing one thing, actually that's a huge amount of change in the accounting sector. And then if we're all influencing our clients, say you influence 10 clients, that again, that's a massive change. So don't be kind of overwhelmed by, oh, I'm not doing enough. Small changes do make a difference.
Yeah, no, definitely it is. We have a team here called the Green Angels. It's a voluntary group in the office, and they go around just doing sort of sustainable focused tasks, such as, you know, we're based on Fountain Bridge at the canal, so litter picking along the canal, from the canal, encouraging sort of good recycling practices. So
I love a litter pick. That's one of my favourite things to do.
Especially on a sunny day. So yeah, we'll take it back to the people dialing in from home now. So it'd be great to get an understanding of where our participants are on their journeys to sustainability, especially when it comes to your practice and advising your clients. So that'll be on your screen now. If you're a complete novice looking to find out more, you have a basic understanding, you have a good baseline knowledge, but looking for practical tips, or helping clients become greener businesses is a key part of your offering. Get a few moments on the screen, and I'll stop sharing that in about 2 seconds. Perfect. So, right. So we have a nice mix there. So about just under half of us are complete novices looking to find out more, which is great why we have Kathryn and Suzannah on today. Another third, basic understanding. and then 21% have a good baseline knowledge but looking for practical tips to implement. So excellent. So that being said, let's sort of dig a bit deeper into sort of the benefits to a bookkeeping practice in particular. So Suzannah, would you like to just kick off and sort of give us a quick sort of insight into the unique role that you think the bookkeeping community can play in helping clients embrace sustainability?
Okay, well, I think to echo what Kathryn said before, I think there are a lot of people who kind of switch off when this subject's talked about because they feel like that it's overwhelming and that there's nothing that they can do. But as Kathryn was saying, we can influence our clients and talk to them about the small changes. So one of the things that I'm starting to do is speak to them about who they bank with, because that's one of the biggest things and easiest, or potentially easiest things you can do. And it doesn't just have to be your business bank account. You can look at your personal bank account, your savings, stuff like that. And by looking on Bank Green, is it, Kathryn?
Yeah, bank.green. I did look up NatWest as well. So
yeah, so that's one of the things that we can sort of talk to them about. But yeah, I mean, just things like you know, telling them to think about, you know, which suppliers they're using and have, you know, whether those suppliers have got green or environmental policies and things like that. And it's just starting those conversations. I mean, as I say, I'm very early on at the moment, and I know that there will be more we can do. And certainly when sort of the reporting legislation becomes sort of more heavily mandated, we'll be able to help them with that, because I think that will probably frighten quite a lot of businesses who won't know where to start with it, but we'll be able to help.
Amazing. And then Kathryn, obviously you've sort of developed that throughout your practice and into sort of supporting other bookkeepers as well. So what's your thoughts on the role you can play?
So firstly, again, to echo what Suzannah said, the small changes make a huge difference. The main reason that we need to be doing this is because we all live on the planet, and we all, you know, without a balanced planet, we won't have any jobs anyway. So that's the main reason we should be doing it. But we, as accountants and bookkeepers, are so well placed to help because it's all about analysing data. And that's what we do day in, day out. So once you've got a hang of the basics, actually all a carbon footprint is, in its simplest term, there's other ways to calculate it, but in its simplest term is the amount of money you're spending on a product converted into something called CO2e, which is how we measure carbon. It's then pulling off reports, thinking about ways that we can reduce that. And actually we're doing that all the time with numbers and figures anyway. So we're so well placed, what's the word I'm looking for, like educationally, to do that. That's what we're trained to do. But also we're really trusted advisors to our clients. I know that I have clients that will ring me up and ask me questions that I think, I don't know the answer to this, I'm your bookkeeper. But this is the sort of thing that they come to because they trust you to advise them. There's definitely going to be reporting coming down the line, and we're absolutely best placed to provide those reports.
Yeah. And in terms of the sort of marketplace as well, obviously you market yourself as a sustainable practice. But in terms of sort of clients in the market as a whole, how many clients do you think are looking for sort of carbon accounting?
Carbon accounting, I'm not sure. So what we're seeing in the marketplace is big companies like Tesco and the NHS. If you work with the NHS now, you have to provide a carbon footprint and a carbon reduction plan. That came in April this year. Big companies have to provide reporting. And what we're seeing is that that's then trickling down onto smaller companies that we might look after. So while our businesses aren't necessarily needing to provide reports at the moment, and for regulation reasons, actually their suppliers and people that they provide services to are asking them to report. And we're seeing that coming down quite a lot. So I think in its basic form, everyone needs to be interested in this. And then from a kind of a client and a stakeholder perspective, there's a lot more pressure on sustainability. I don't know the exact figures, and I tried to look them up before I came, but there was a Federation of Small Business report, and it's something like 60% of people would pick a sustainable brand over a non-sustainable brand. So actually, from a marketing, if you're only doing it even from a marketing perspective and a competitive advantage perspective, it's worth looking into.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously you've sort of expanded out as well to then offer sort of training courses to other sort of keepers and accountants in your space. What was your sort of motivation to do so?
Two things. So one, I got fed up about people asking me questions, I suppose. And I thought, right, I can collate this into something where I can talk to a lot of people at once. But also just people don't know what they don't know. And a few people said to me, I just don't know where to start. And I don't know what this means. There's lots of jargon. I don't know what this means. Am I doing the right thing? I think sometimes people are not doing anything because they're worried about doing the wrong thing. And it happens quite a lot in the sustainability space, where someone will say to you, well, you shouldn't have done that. That's not the best thing for the planet. But actually, all these, and again, I come back to the small changes, like all these small changes are worth doing. There's nothing, doing nothing is not good, obviously, but there's actually nothing too small that you can do. Does that make sense?
No, 100%.
And the best place is just to start.
Yeah. And then how do you then go through the sort of task of, actually setting action points for clients as well and bring them round to this way of thinking? What's your thoughts in terms of sort of the onboarding process for sustainability, essentially?
So I'm quite lucky that most of my clients are in that space anyway, and they don't need convincing to do their carbon footprint because they know. But I just rabbit on about it all the time. And the ones that aren't in the sustainability space are making conscious decisions because they think, oh, Kathryn's going to tell me off when she sees that going through my accounts. Or, we've tried to do this to be more sustainable. And again, it's just having those conversations and maybe I saw someone had written about Small Business Britain in the comments. That's a great place to start. The FSB have got loads of places to start. There's a company called Small 99 that provide loads of free information. Just go and sort of teach yourself about it so you've got the confidence to have those conversations.
Yeah, no, amazing. And then, Suzannah, what sort of brought you across Kathryn's course? Was it always something you had an interest in, or was it something that prompted you to sort of just pick it up?
Yeah, well, like I said, always been interested in environmental issues. I've been a vegetarian since I was a child, and yeah, I was always interested. And then sort of came across Kathryn on LinkedIn and on things like 6FB, and just was interested. And when she started promoting her course, we started chatting, and I thought, yeah, I'd like to do this and find out more.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Amazing. So that's sort of a good sort of the why you would do something. But now we can actually look into the how. And one thing that's quite widely sort of debated, the pros and cons, is how tech can assist. And arguably it falls short in lots of different aspects in terms of obviously servers use quite a lot of water to cool them down. AI is a very big talking point at the moment in terms of how we can use it, but maybe in a more mindful way. So Kathryn, do you want to give us an idea of your tech stack that you use, and how you see the role of tech assisting what you do?
Yeah, and interestingly, someone's written in their Q&A, I'm sure we'll get to it, Helen's written, how do these practices handle the cloud and data storage? Because they, you know, data storage and AI particularly consumes so much like energy and water, but it's one of those things that's almost, if we don't embrace it, then we need to go along with it as well. But as you say, it's about using it mindfully. And how I do that would be writing to my suppliers to say, you know, what are you doing about the environment? I'm very conscious to only use suppliers that have some sort of carbon reduction plan in place. And actually, I will move away from suppliers if I don't think that they're meeting that. It's not always, you can't always do that because suppliers are maybe leading in the market and they do what they do best. But there is a way, you know, I do contact suppliers, any subcontractors I have, things like that, to ask them what their plans are. And actually, I was on a call with a client the other day, and they asked the supplier, and the supplier didn't have one, and they said, okay, I can't use your product. We need to end the call. Like, I can't use your product, but I will speak to you about it. And again, it's that conversation. And actually, if software suppliers haven't been asked, they probably haven't thought about it. So in turn, but you asked about my tech stack. So I use sort of accounting software aside, there's lots of carbon footprinting software. I know you're going to come on to the NatWest one, which I'm looking forward to seeing actually, because I haven't seen it. But I use a platform called Net Zero Now. You can use, a lot of people have heard of something called Ecology. And what that does is it just links in with your accounts. I think it does with FreeAgent. It definitely does with Zero, but it links into your account to create that carbon footprint. But yeah, it's a balance between, am I using too much digital data versus maybe paper data, but it is still better to use digital.
No, definitely. And I think Penny Allard, who runs Well Bookkeeping, she shared something really interesting on LinkedIn. And just again, those little small changes of deleting your emails,
Yes, that's the big one,
storage, and service.
Yeah, I think I've become known for that, actually. Like, people write to me a lot and say, I've just deleted all my emails.
But it's such an easy thing you can do, isn't it? That's just, if everyone was doing that, that's making a difference. It's not going to solve everything, but it helps.
I don't have the stats in front of me, but it saves a huge amount. And accountants and bookkeepers, and I'm really guilty of this, we have a tendency to save things in 55 different places, just in case we get audited or like we need to get that paperwork back. And we don't need to save it in 55 different places, like just one place is fine. So if you've saved an attachment from an email, you can delete the email, it's okay, because it's saved somewhere else. And that it does save a huge amount of carbon.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, investing in a good CRM system as well that then, has that data stored. And then, Suzannah, in your practice and everyday life as well, do you sort of have any thoughts on using technology in a mindful way?
Just kind of what Kathryn said, really. So yeah, deleting the emails. I mean, it's not really technology, but just silly things. Like I said to a client the other day who they get a lot of stuff from Amazon, and I was like, can you try and order all your stuff like once or twice a month rather than like several times a day, because it's coming in all these different deliveries and you could be having that order in one delivery potentially. So things like that. I mean, that isn't tech as such, but that was just something I was thinking of. And yeah, as Kathryn said, you don't need to have multiple copies of the same documents saved. So if you've uploaded them into FreeAgent, the invoices, you can delete the emails and the photos and stuff like that. And the technology does help us with that. So, and we're not having to print it out anymore either, which is good, and file it and all of that. So So yeah,
it's just HMRC that need to get on board with the with not sending letters. And I've just looked it up. So an email that takes 10 minutes to write and 3 minutes to read, sent between laptops. This is a really good book as well. I will send the books to you because I know someone's asked. It takes 17 grams of CO2 to do it, a long email. So I think it was Kirsty that emailed me once to say, I've deleted like 1,000 emails today. So if everyone deletes 1,000 emails, that's 17,000.
I don't email you to tell you.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. And then in terms of sort of then moving into other participants today who are looking to find out more, what would your top tips be to ensure that a practice and their clients are as sustainable as possible? Kathryn, do you want to kick off? Obviously, we had about half of our participants today who are quite early on in their journey to sustainability. So what would you say to those people firstly?
So I wrote actually 4 things down, but the first thing I would say is just start. Whatever it is, just go and take 5 minutes to start the process. And how I would start would be going and measuring my carbon footprint. It doesn't have to be expensive. There's free tools around. So from a business perspective, I would go to a website called Small99. I think it's just like small99.com or something, but if you Google it, they'll come up. And for personal stuff, the WWF has a really good carbon footprint to get you started. They're free. And they also have a wealth of information. So it's just learning about what that carbon footprint actually means. So then you can start making changes. So that's where I would start for the sort of people that haven't started anything yet.
Perfect. And then those who are sort of maybe further along their journey and have a good baseline knowledge, looking to sort of maybe sort of incorporate it more into their business model, what would your advice to those people be?
Talk about what they're doing, because I bet you're doing a lot already that you don't realise. I know, Suzannah, we've been through this with your business, and we did it with Penny Allard as well. Just actually write down all the things that you're doing, and it might not be
it's more than you think. Yeah.
It might not be recycling. It might be that you have a really good policy with it's like a whole ESG model. So it might be that you have a really good policy for your staff, or I don't know, like Penny volunteers at a homeless shelter, and she never even thought to include that as part of her narrative, but she is doing it, and that might attract a client in some way as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it is that sort of, communication point, because, like you said earlier on, there's so many people out there who are interested in this as a service, and it's just reaching and targeting those people. Suzannah, obviously, you're at the sort of earlier stages. What would your top tips be for anyone who's interested but doesn't really know where to start?
Just start, like Kathryn said. Connect with people like Kathryn and follow them on LinkedIn, because you get lots of sort of good tips and information. Have a look at bank.green, look at where your pension's invested, just stuff like that. Energy tariffs, you can get greener energy tariffs, and you can talk to your clients about those as well. Just start, and once you start, you'll keep thinking of things and realizing things that you already do, and things that you can talk about, and things that you can say to your clients and suggest to them. Just go from there.
Really sort of build your community like you both have as well. So you've got other like-minded people who you can sort of go to for support, and
exactly. I mean, I'm still learning stuff every day. It is a big topic, and it can be overwhelming. So that's why you should just try and pick one little thing, little habits. Once that thing has become a habit, pick something else. etc., etc. Yeah.
Like we never would have taken reusable bags to the supermarket 10 years ago, right? Or however long it was. But now you wouldn't think, well, I often go to the supermarket without my reusable bag and then have to balance everything. But you wouldn't think about going without it now. And you wouldn't think about a lot of people, you don't buy water, like a lot of people carry water bottles.
Water
The habit of doing it. And I think you're right, connecting with like-minded people to get ideas. There's a few people around giving out the ideas.
Yeah, when I go in to see clients now, I've still got some clients who've got like a water cooler with those awful little plastic cups, and it drives me mad. And I make a big point of taking in my water bottle and refilling it, and it is getting through. Some of them have sort of stopped doing it now, and getting people to take like just a mug or something they can wash up rather than all the one-use plastic. But I think people just aren't aware. Still, we're in an echo chamber because we're talking about it all the time. But there are people who aren't aware as much. But you can make that difference just with little things without being too kind of judgy or preachy. But it does help.
And that's it. You don't know what you don't know. So I went in the person that someone I know has fake grass in their garden. But until she'd spoken to me about it and I kind of pointed it out that it wasn't very environmentally friendly, it hadn't even occurred. It hadn't occurred to them.
Right. And when that came out a few years ago, everyone was
raving about it.
Yeah, didn't actually think of the repercussions of it. But yeah.
No, definitely, and I think it's again those small things, and not just looking at it from sort of a practice perspective, but also a lifestyle perspective as well. Just cautious with a few questions come in. So firstly, Kathryn, do you mind sharing the 2 books you recommended?
Yeah, so the first one is The Uninhabitable Earth by David Wallace Wells. Hopefully everyone can see that. I'll just leave it up for a minute. And the second one is, although everyone will know where I get my content from now, but it's a book called How Bad Are Bananas, and it's by Mike Berners-Lee. I can't hold them both and show you. By Mike Berners-Lee, and it's literally the carbon footprint of everything. So whenever you hear me saying like, oh, what's the carbon footprint of a tomato? It's in here. I think there might be a newer version of this one as well.
Amazing, thank you, Kathryn. So I think we've covered off quite a lot of the other questions throughout the session, but just to sort of recap as well, someone's asked in the chat, when we talk about measuring your carbon footprint, what do we actually mean by that, and how do you action that?
Yeah, so there's 2 ways to do it. Well, the first one is using spend data. So basically whatever is in your account. So if you're spending, I don't know, £100 a year on travel, some whiz kids, actually this guy that wrote this book, Mike Berners-Lee, there is a protocol which you can follow. There's a huge spreadsheet that will tell you how much CO2 that creates in the environment. But now there's software that incorporates that huge spreadsheet and will take it from your accounting system and convert it for you. There's also then the second way of calculating is through activity. So I think most people will be aware that maybe getting the train is better for the environment than you driving a petrol car or a diesel car. And the amount of miles you do would it be included in that calculation as well to get a CO2 calculation. So you can do it on quite a simplistic basis, and there's free tools to do that, but you can also go into a lot of detail, even down, I know there's some platforms that even go down to like what you're eating and your recycling habits, all sorts that you can go really deep into.
Amazing, thank you. I think the other questions we've pretty much covered off throughout the session. So what I might just do is launch our next poll. So yeah, once again, if you're a bookkeeper or accountant in practice, would you like to find out more about becoming a free agent partner? But yes, please, no thanks, or already partnered with us. I'll leave that up on the screen for a few seconds. Perfect. Okay. So that brings us to the end of our panel discussion. We are running perfectly for time because I know a few of you will be heading off to the Accounting Excellence Awards last night, so might be wanting an early finish. So what's left to say? A huge, huge thank you to Suzannah and Kathryn for giving up their time today. We couldn't run these sessions without your guys' insight, so thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you. Up tomorrow, Wednesday, the 9th of October, we have Revitalize Your Tech Stack for Smooth Efficiency with Jim Malik and Johan Gorey. Also remember to head over to our LinkedIn page to enter our giveaway. For any of our existing partners, highlighting our ProNation Facebook community, which is run by Lissy Cohen and Will Farnell. It's a really nice place for sort of strategic business owners to come together and share insight. It's not a space for us to shout about FreeAgent. It's a space where you can chat about exactly topics like this. So sustainability, ways to grow your practice. And so if you're not joined that and you're a bronze partner or above, then head along now. So as promised, we are going to end the session today with a look at the NatWest Carbon Planner. So as Suzannah and Kathryn mentioned, we wanted to sort of finish the session with a sort of small achievable thing that everyone can take away with them. So the NatWest Carbon Planner, it's free to all UK businesses. So you don't have to be banking with any of the NatWest group. It's a simple consultative approach rather than a sort of analytics tool. You put in your business data and it will give you helpful hints and tips to better understand your carbon footprint with action points to reduce it. So let me just share my screen. It'll be 2 moments while I log in. Perfect. So, hopefully you can all see my screen okay. I will take that as a yes. Okay, so the dashboard is very, very simple. You log on once you sign up. It takes a few minutes to sign up. You've got a very intuitive dashboard ahead of you. So we can take you on a little tour of the Carbon Planner. So what is the NatWest Carbon Planner? Well, it's here to support your business go greener. It gives you a carbon footprint estimate and follows a tailored action plan to reduce your emissions. So how does it work? You start off by answering questions about your business activities. The more questions you answer, the better we can estimate the carbon footprint and the more relevant your suggested actions will be. You can see the average carbon footprint for a business with your revenue or industry. So it's very handy as that sort of benchmarking exercise. You can also calculate a carbon reduction target for your business to work towards. So you can learn about how to get this validated and published. So then once you've set your target, you can tailor your actions. So you can view a list of your tailored actions your business could take to reduce emissions. You can choose which actions to take forward based on potential long-term cost savings or the largest environmental impact. Finally, you can add actions to your plan and get support towards working towards these. So you can share this plan as evidence of your low carbon strategy as well. There's lots of resources in the Carbon Planner as well. So there is resources written by a range of climate experts to build your knowledge, what it means to be a sustainable business and help you move forward with your action plan. Finally, you can explore other products and support from obviously RBS and the NatWest group as well. And I will just go back to stop sharing that now. Perfect. So we have one last poll left today. And the final one is, would you like a one-to-one consultation to learn more about becoming a free agent practice? It's A for yes or B for no. And I'll leave that sharing for a final 2 seconds. Okay, so once again, a huge thank you to Suzannah and Kathryn for giving us your time this afternoon. We are running 4 minutes ahead of schedule. So yeah, if you're heading off to the Accounting Excellence Awards tonight, I hope you enjoy the evening. And yeah, many thanks and enjoy the rest of your day.